Hey, it's James, Fathers Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. I'm going to talk about mediation. I had a mediation video on YouTube, got a lot of views, but the quality is kind of bad. I was doing it while I was driving. My car was shaking, the audio is bad, so I need to do another one. So some of you may have seen it before, but I want to add a couple of things to that where, well, let me just get into it. And remember to check my flow page, particularly the section that says must see information. The reason why I said put must see information on there, because you must see it. You need to see this stuff. Um, my winning court orders, ways to contact me and schedule an appointment. Anybody who's never talked to me needs to get an appointment with me. I'm just going to be straight up honest. There's no way, unless you've thoroughly researched this and you're kicking butt in court, even if you have an attorney, you need to know everything that you need to know. Now, if you know everything you need to know, or you know how to find stuff, there's people out there who've never contacted me before that know more than I do because they've done the research and dug and made it an obsession, or they got one of the few people out there as a resource to help them find stuff. But 99% of you need a consult with me. Whether you get it or not, that's on you. And I have some haters who love. I had a guy in a video who's been stalking me for a while like he's an ex-scorned lover, sitting there saying James just rambles on, he's always doing this and that. Well, first of all, what are you doing watching my videos? If you're a dad who's gotten screwed in court, what are you doing hating on me? Because I help dads win. And if I give answers in the 9th minute of a 10-minute video, why are you complaining? You've spent $10, $20, $30,000 on an attorney and never got any answers. Our gender is so delusional. We're more delusional than these modern women who flatter themselves that are on Kevin Samuel's show and say that they're a 10 when they're a 4. In any case, mediation is a scam because, number one, first and foremost, here's the obvious. And I talk to people all the time like, let's go to mediation, let's go to mediation. My baby's mom, she took me to restraining order court first and says, we need a mediator because we can't work things out. We can't work things out because you decided you hate my guts all of a sudden because I stood up to you and your obese, unattractive sisters who can't get a man. And they're all, mad at me, so they want to destroy my life with my kid, and I'm standing up for myself, and so now you're mad about that. So we can't get along. But let's go to a mediator. If we go to that, I thought that was so weird to me. Oh, we need to go to a professional total stranger who's going to tell us what to do with our lives. Like we can't figure it out ourselves because you're immature. You're an immature narcissist. So if you're ever curious, like who my baby's mama is, her name is Sedaris Wright, Sederis, and Wright with a W. She's one of the more unique names out there. So seems like the couple of people that I dated that were crazies, they got really unique names. So maybe I need to go with Michelle Johnson next time or something. So she wants to go to mediator and talk to a total stranger and sit down and resolve our problems. And that's the number one scam with mediation is that if you could sit down and resolve your issues and come to an agreement with a mediator watching you, you could have done it before you went to a mediator, especially if you have an attorney. Actually, that might be the number 2 scam, but the top 2 I'm going to get into right here. So the mother and I, let's say we end up agreeing on 60-40. She gets 60%, and I get 40% custody, and she just wanted child support. And so you decide, okay, that's good enough. I was only expecting every other weekend. That's a good deal for me. Why didn't your attorney just call her attorney and say, hey, what do you want to agree on? The dad wants 50-50, and the mom's attorney goes, no, she wants 70-30 or something. Say, well, can we meet halfway, 60-40? Okay, boom. 5 minutes and you're done. And each attorney only charges you $80 for that 5 minutes. Now you went to a mediator that's $200 to $400 an hour, and each party is paying their attorney $300 to $400 an hour. And you went to mediation and talked for 2 or 3 hours because they wanted to milk it and make as much easy money as possible. So, first of all, mediation is a scam because you could settle out of court without a mediator. You're just adding an extra element or an extra person to sit there and watch you. Kind of like with a guardian ad litem. You're going to go to court and tell your story. The mother's going to go to court and tell her story. A guardian ad litem comes on board and demands $5,000 retainer or whatever. And they're going to go interview the father and interview the mother and write a report as to what you guys say, when you already have your opportunity to say your piece in court anyway. The court just keeps piling on all this other stuff and nobody ever objects. See, this is the problem also. You guys out there are complaining about the system sucks or that your judge sucks, and none of you are doing videos on your judge. None of you are protesting your judge. None of you are calling your judge out. You just want the judge to secretly, magically have a eureka moment, say, you know what, I'm being totally evil. I'm being totally demonic. I'm being such a heathen who hates the traditional family. I think I'll just wake up and I'll start making great rulings. Dictators only change by force. I've gone out and protested my judge in his own neighborhood. I've gone to the courthouse and I had a judge that took jurisdiction of my case the last 8 years or so. And I always had to have him on my case. Or I've gone out and done this with other judges where I post their address and their birth date and their driver's license. And I say, this judge loves child molesters or somebody that placed a child with a mom who had a child molester boyfriend. Or I'll say, this judge is a child molester. Like I said with my judge, I was in his neighborhood saying he's a child molester and he hates biracial kids. My daughter's biracial. He hates her because of some of the rulings that he made. He didn't care about her. He only cared about catering to the mother in the end. My judge wanted to make everything work out, and he had a white liberal savior mentality or whatever. That's really what is a God complex, arrogant prick, self-righteous Pharisee mentality. And so he wanted to work it out. So he thought he was going to be our pastor, counselor, mediator, and all that other stuff. It's like, that's not his job. But anyway, he was always trying to work it out so much that the mother didn't want to be involved, and he wanted to make the mother be involved. He thought it was all my fault because she didn't want to be involved, and her attorney would argue that it's all my fault when she wasn't even trying, and it was just her attorney was getting off on bashing me. So my judge would make rulings that would end up harming my daughter in the end, and I could write a book about that. So my judge was disturbing the peace of my daughter and me in my home by rattling our cage with these horrible rulings. So my judge was molesting the peace of my daughter. So he's a child molester. Now, if somebody interprets that the wrong way, that's their problem. But I was making an accurate statement about him. And when I protested him in his neighborhood, some neighbors were like, what are you doing out here? This is crazy. This is Easter Sunday. Or what are you doing out here, bothering us and stuff like that. I'm like, if this guy didn't throw me in jail, if he didn't make this ruling, if he didn't violate my rights and traumatize my daughter, I wouldn't be out here. And then I get a chance to talk to his neighbors for 20, 30, 40 minutes and tell them what a horrible human being he is. I'm disturbing his bubble. See, these judges in these courts make rulings and they keep it a secret and nobody ever talks about it. And then everybody cries in private Father's Rights Movement meetings or just to me or just in a private setting. And they say, look at how horrible the ruling is. But none of you grow any balls to go out there and protest and expose. I've protested judges in other cases where the dads won't even protest. And those judges start changing their rulings because I'll say this judge in this case number placed a child with an abusive mother and the child got their nails ripped off or the snot beat out of them. The mother gave them a concussion, all that other stuff. That causes judges to make some different rulings after that. But nobody's doing that. So with mediation, what people should also do is challenge mediation. When I get in front of a judge, or if I was ever to get in front of a judge again, they say go to mediation. Why would you want to order me to go to mediation when we're not going to work it out? If we could work it out, we could work it out now. And if we can't work it out, we're even more wasting my time. I had a college professor when I went back to college to get a bachelor's degree after I went through all this stuff. He said, if you guys go to law school, this is the best thing to get into. Be a mediator because there's no overhead. You could travel to one law firm to another and you just show up and you sit there and watch them argue and talk. But see, all these attorneys have handshake agreements. Oh, you refer me to mediation, I referred you to mediation. There's one in Auburn, Washington named John Curry. His firm represented a dad who's also a family law attorney. He beat the snot out of his daughter, bashed her head in, and he's restrained from his daughter, but they keep dragging the mother into court for the other 3 kids. These mediators are scum, just like everybody else. I would demand from the judge a reason why I should pay to go do something that is totally fruitless, and if we could settle out of court, we could settle out of court. Mediation is a scam for that and many other reasons.